Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear. Today I have an unboxing to do. I placed this order with Rivers Edge Cutlery, who I love. They're fantastic, just an awesome retailer in the knife space. They are responsible for some fantastic Spyderco exclusives. If you don't know who they are, then you're probably not into Spyderco exclusives, but they've done things like the 10V PM2, which is maybe my favorite knife that I own. Love this knife so much. They've also done the infamous REC Para 3. That Para 3 had OD green scales, an FDE PVD coated 204P blade. That's a whole lot of numbers and letters to explain that it's probably the coolest Para 3 that has ever come out, and has just been a phenomenon. It's virtually impossible to even get one secondhand, and if you do, it's like 3 times what they originally cost. So the cool news is they're also working on coming out with a new exclusive PM2 that's right around the corner. It's going to be the same configuration as that Para 3, but in a paramilitary 2, so I'm pumped for that. Can't wait for it. But Rivers Edge Cutlery is just probably my favorite knife retailer that is out there. So I got these 3 knives from them that we're going to be unboxing today. But I want to say thank you to them and kudos for a job well done. And I'm going to go ahead and rip into these. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bust right into these boxes. We won't need this. Obviously, this is already open. So I set that aside. And I guess we'll go probably in order of cheapest to most expensive. So I'm going to pull these out of frame. We're going to go ahead and start with the Rike. Rike is an interesting brand. I first learned about these guys probably about 2 years ago, and I believe that it's the same ownership as Fenix, the light company. So that's kind of interesting. If you like Fenix flashlights, then you know they're built pretty well. They're a solid option. They tend to be a pretty good budget, or pretty good on the budget, I should say. Man, this is difficult. So in this box we have, let's see, little information on Rike. As you can see, they've got a whole bunch of options on here. I actually bought my dad a Rike knife for, I think it was Father's Day or his birthday, about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago now, and he really likes that knife. I've played with it quite a bit, and it's a good piece. It's solid. All right, so here we have Rike ready to make it. Let's go ahead and actually cut that tag off right now, because that's going to bother me while I'm playing with this. I guess the 10V did come in handy. All right, so this guy, our model number is P661. I don't think this knife has a name, but this sucker was like under $30. And let's see how the action is. Oh, that's not bad. That feels really good, actually. G10 construction with liners. It's a folded over kind of deep carry style clip, but obviously it's placed below this final piece of hardware there, so it's not going to sit deep, even though it's kind of a deep carry clip. For my smallish hands, I wear like a medium, sometimes large work glove. I get all 4 fingers on this. This feels good. All of these edges feel really well chamfered, which I was not expecting at this price point. The G10 is chamfered around the edges as well. Nothing is sharp on here. It's a really cool little blade. I like that quite a bit. Nice. All right, so there is that guy. Knife number 1. Let's put it the other way. It'll make more sense. Perfect. There is the Rike. Let me set this off to the side. Next, we have the CJRB. Now, this is the CJRB Talla. I have been wanting to try one of these for quite a while. I've handled and played with a bunch of Civivis, and I've really liked those. But lately, I've seen a lot of people starting to mention CJRB, so I wanted to get one in hand and try it out. And this was the design and the, yeah, just I guess the design that spoke to me the most of the ones that they offer. So CJRB is essentially the budget line from Artisan knives, and I've had 1 or 2 Artisans over time, and I've liked them. They've been nice. I've handled a few more than I've owned, and they've been cool, but I'm intrigued to see how this stacks up against the other kind of budget lines that are on the scene in this day and age. So this one's D2, G10. This G10 is milled in a really cool way. First impressions are strong on this. It feels really nice. It's got a lot of traction, but it's not sharp. I like that they milled it in such a way. It's also kind of contoured. You can see these scales have like a bit of a radius to them. It feels nice. Oh, the action is not bad at all. For I think this was under 50 bucks for an under $50 knife. That detent is solid. That action feels good right out of the box. I feel like I can hear the tiniest bit of kind of grittiness in there. So I may disassemble this knife and lube it and see if it's even smoother. But even with that, it feels like there's a tiny bit of resistance. The sucker still just kind of flies open. It does shake out, but it's not too easy to shake it out. The detent's pretty strong. That's cool. I like that. This blade shape, I don't know if you'd call this a sheep's foot or a Wharncliffe. I guess it's more of a Wharncliffe because this line is pretty well straight. But it does look like the edge isn't quite straight. It's got just the littlest bit of belly all the way through, which I kind of like. It's got this swedge up here that I think looks kind of cool. Yeah, this is nice. The ergos work well for me. I like that I've got this big spot to put my thumb. Kind of reminds me of my Spyderco Yojimbo 2. Yeah, that works well. That feels good. The forward choil works for my fingertip. I probably wouldn't want to put like the meat of my finger in there because it's not quite big enough for it, but that'll work great as a sharpening choil. Yeah, D2 flipper on bearings, G10 liner lock. This is compelling. I like this. I'm excited to beat on a little bit, try it out some more, and see how it really performs, but I like that. I like the clip. I like the positioning. I like the setup. The flipper works great. I can imagine this would actually be kind of a cool knife to do a whole mod on, so you could middle finger flip it out. I guess I was able to get enough traction on it to do it just by pressing against the blade, which is kind of fun for me. If you know me at all, you know I like to fidget with my knives. So there is the Tala. Very cool. All right, now let's get to the really exciting one. I have seen Finch knives pop up on the scene just recently. I've had a few friends who've had these knives in hands and have done reviews on them, and it's gotten my attention. And so I really, really wanted to try one of these out. Keep life from getting dull, finchknifeco.com, Stillwell, Kansas. So I assume, because they're putting that on the box, and that seems to be kind of part of their identity, that these are actually made in Stillwell, Kansas. If not, at least the company seems to be based there. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that this is a USA-made knife coming out of Kansas, which is really cool. They appear to have a few options. I was looking at their website, and they've got some more knives in the pipeline that I think are about to come out. But yeah, I've seen, frankly, nothing but good things about these, so I'm excited to try this out. This is a sticker, flipping the Finch. That's kind of cool. I like that. Got a warranty card. It's a cool way to do a warranty card. I like that. This looks like some kind of a little product guide. Knife handling, its safety, keeping it from getting dull, all that fun stuff. Ships with a Band-Aid. That's a nice little touch. I like that. And here we have the knife. It's set into a really cool, this box is nice. This foam is cut out just perfectly for the silhouette of the knife, if you will. I like that a lot. And there it's in a baggie. I went with the yellow one just because I think it's an interesting choice. I don't have any knives that are yellow right now, so this will change that. This G10 feels really good. It is kind of like a polished G10, but it still has some texture to it. It's not grippy. I would definitely say it's on the slicker side, but it's not just smooth either. It's interesting. You've got kind of this grain to it where you can see as they've put a little bit of a radius on there. Let's look at the centering. Looks perfect to me. That's very cool. You've got a nail nick on both sides of this. That's interesting. I don't have any traditional knives. I don't have any slip joints, anything like that. So this will probably be my closest thing to a traditional, actually. Really cool looking pivot. I like that they put the ring around it. Really cool that they put their crest there. I feel like that does make this seem like more of a traditional, even though it is a flipper. And that flips well. That was fun. I like that. It's got a really solid crispy detent. Oof, that is legit. And this is a tiny little blade, but it does kind of drop pretty well, seeing as it has virtually no weight in it. We've got a milled clip. I think it looks really good. This is an awesome little knife. This thing is tiny. My idea behind this one is that it'll be one of my kind of 5th pocket carry knives, and I think this is going to fit that role really well. I don't get my pinky on it when it's in hand. My pinky lands just kind of on the butt there, but it's not uncomfortable at all. Because this is such a neutral shape, it goes in my hand really well. It's a really cool kind of Wharncliffe style blade. You'll probably notice about me that I like Wharncliffes. I feel like this will be a super usable shape for the type of knife that this is. I like that we've got satin flats and a stone washed finish on the bevel or the grind there. This is really cool. Let's see how it works with the nail nick. If I can, ooh, I can middle finger flip it. That's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, this is legit. I suppose the idea of that is that you would open it in a far more traditional way, but that's not my style. So that is going to be my middle finger flipper. That's the technical term. All right. Yeah, this is really cool. So let me get this box out of the way. I'll do a quick another run through on what these are. But yeah, so we've got the Finch, the CJRB, and the Rike. Now, this knife was about 140 bucks, I believe. This knife was just under 50 bucks. I think it was in the 40s. And this knife was under $30. So we've got a pretty wide spread here in terms of values. But the cool thing is I am not really disappointed with any of these, especially considering the price points that they came at. I'm definitely most excited about the Finch. I'm really pumped to see how this knife actually does. This one is N690 blade steel. I don't think I mentioned that. The model is the Runtly. So this one's really cool. I'm glad I got the yellow too, especially now that I see it in person. I think this color is super different, super interesting, and it's a loud color, but it's such a tiny knife that I don't really mind that. I feel like it's kind of cool. I'm digging these. So we have the Runtly, the Tala, and this one, I didn't have a name, did it? The P661, I think it is. Yeah, P661. So there's our unboxing. I'll be doing probably some individual videos on each of these, a little more in depth with first impressions, even though I kind of did that a little bit here on accident. But these are my new knives, and I'm excited to bust them out. Thanks again to Rivers Edge Cutlery for these. This is going to be a lot of fun.